I will not support this motion to refer back to committee. We've spent, I would, and that this is not including staff time, but we've spent at least 3 hours, maybe 4, discussing this issue. We've digested it thoroughly, and I want to point out one fact. This change happened in 2008. We're now in February of 2013. I think the issues and concerns, and I'm not insensitive to downtown businesses, there certainly probably is some impact due to all the construction that's occurring on the railroad property right now. And so I think we have to keep that in mind as well. If we're going to send this back and entertain the idea to put it to two-way, again, we have no idea that's going to increase, or, I mean, there's economic factors. Everybody is struggling economically now. Honestly, and I've wrestled with this, I honestly don't believe this change had negative impact on downtown businesses. I think it's quite possible that the construction that's going on did. I remember a number of years ago when this council, not every member of this council was on the council then, we gave $10,000 to the Keene Downtown Group because of all the disruption that was happening on Main Street with the repaving, the gas lines, everything else. If I felt, honestly, that this was negatively impacting businesses, I'd be more in favor for it. I don't believe it is. We also have a master plan that states unequivocally we need to promote pedestrian and bicycle access in our downtown, and when we make changes, we try to accommodate that. Think about how narrow Cypress Street is. The co-op. All right, we could make, I guess we could say, no trucks allowed this way, only exiting, not an entry. You know, the fact of the matter is it's easier to just keep it one way. As that builds out, I think you'll see it flowing out, preserving Cypress Street. You have downtown parking spaces that will be lost to put that to two-way. The sidewalk would probably have to be narrowed. You also have other businesses there. It's not just Anici's. You have at least 2 or 3 other businesses on Cypress Street. Plus, it creates an easy way for people to walk from Main Street to the co-op once it's built and the rest of the railroad property. Staff told us that that intersection would have the most functionality if it remains the same. If it goes back to two-way, you're creating more traffic, more gridlock, more aggravation, more difficulty for automobiles downtown and the drivers. So I appreciate the concerns and the wish to send it back, but I don't know what else. I mean, send it back and wait for another study to ask staff to do another study or to evaluate. We have to make a decision. It's fair to the people who are asking for us to change it, but it's also fair for those of us who feel it should remain the same. We've spent a lot of time on this issue, and we need, I think, to just step up and follow through with the intent of the committee. I really don't see what benefit there is in sending this back to the committee for more time.
Councilor Manhart.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a question. If we defeat this recommendation, what happens?
To go back to committee.
If we, the motion that's on the floor is a motion to refer. If we defeat the motion to refer, then the main motion, which is to adopt the committee report, will then be before the committee, before the council.
Okay. I guess in trying to decide how I vote for the first one, I'm wondering what would happen if the second one, if our recommendation failed from the MSFI.
Then it would be open for further motions.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Benizia.
Thank you, Your Honor. I agree with Chairman Duffy on a large percentage of what he said. I think that we look at the timing of when the petition came through, and that came through after there had been an awful lot of construction at Eagle Court, and it was very difficult this last summer to get onto Main Street going north. And I think that, more than anything else, may have prompted this petition. I have seen I have heard no other comments up until this time, so we need to look at it within what was going on at the time the petition was brought forward. I will vote against recommending this to go back.
Dale?
Preacher.
How's the preacher?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I wanted to say Your Honor, but.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I also will not support this motion on the floor. And the reason, I couldn't have said it better myself, Councilor Duffy, and I thank you for those words. But there is one thing I would like to add, and that's when we get done with all the work that's going to be done on the railroad property, which probably will be in 2 to 3 years with the full plans, I think that's the time to look at a traffic pattern for that particular whole section. So I urge you to not support the motion that's on the floor.
Councilor Chad.
Thank you. In response to some of the points that have been made, that there are 2 or 3 businesses, not just 90 Main Street, that were of the same opinion. They weren't there. They didn't voice their opinion. And in terms of pedestrian and bike and the master plan, I don't think that changing this intersection is going to affect that. And I don't see anything in the notes, in the discussion, where staff is adamantly against this. And when questioned or pinned to the wall, the word probably was used over and over. And I would take the time if you needed convincing to go through, because I've underlined every single place. But the point is that there just isn't enough substantiating this. And you've got a big section of the business community down there. And we talk all the time about, we want downtown business to thrive. And they're coming to us as representative to represent them. And I just think it's our duty, and there's no statistics, there's no study or anything that backs or opposes in any strong fashion what they're asking.
Councilor Duffy.
Thank you. I'd just like to clarify something. I don't know if I said staff was adamant. That's not what I meant. And as far as other businesses go, I'm addressing Councilor Chadbourne's comments. I just said there's other businesses. That's true. They didn't come up. But I want to point something else out. Back in 2008, there were some assertions that city staff did not notify the businesses back then. Read the background notes. Letters were even hand-delivered to some of the businesses there. They were sent. They knew in 2008 this was going to happen. So all assertions there that they didn't know, that 350 people didn't know it was going to be changed, maybe they didn't. But the folks who were most directly going to be impacted by this were notified in 2008. That was something, if you go back to the background minutes, Chair Redfern at the time, I believe, or Slack said, asked staff to do that, and it was done. It was confirmed 2 weeks ago when the city manager and the public works director. So they knew about it. And this is not, this change, why I'm supporting this is, it's not head and shoulders way above the best, but it is the best solution, and it has the most positive impact. It has a positive impact on traffic flow and delay. It has positive impact for our pedestrians who use our downtown and shop there, and who we're supposed to accommodate as well. And it works the most. We know that's a congested area downtown. This, sending this back to just redo this or whatever is not gonna change that. I agree with Councilor Precin's comments earlier that, overall, we're gonna have to look at